We're now going to talk about an ingredient derived from the sea holly, or Eryngium maritimum, specifically from stem cells derived from this plant. The sea holly is a plant called a halophyte. That's to say it's adapted to live in levels of very high salinity, such as sand dunes and other coastal areas. The adaptations that enable plants like the sea holly to live in these very salty conditions enable it or give it special properties, particularly with regards to water management and also levels of electrolytes, salts, so that the plant can still survive in these hostile environments. It also gives the plant very high levels of antioxidants, which protect against oxidative damage from free radicals, which would otherwise harm the plant and prevent it from existing. To produce this active ingredient, cells are harvested from the growing tips of the plant, an area called the meristem, where the cells in the tissues are undifferentiated stem cells. These undifferentiated cells can then develop into any other part of the plant, be it a leaf, a stem, a flower bud, or even a seed. As such, these cells carry the fingerprint of the whole plant. Once they've been harvested, these cells are then grown in a culture, a sterile medium containing nutrients, salts and vitamins that the plant cells use to multiply and grow on. Once the concentration of cells in this growing medium is sufficiently strong, they're filtered out and then freeze-dried to produce a very concentrated and very pure ingredient. This production method is totally sustainable, has minimal impact on the environment, and also avoids the use of any solvents or preservatives in the finished ingredient. So what use can this ingredient have in cosmetics? Well, to understand that, we have to know a little bit about how the skin is formed and how it works. Our skin is formed in two particular layers. The outermost of these is the epidermis and consists of the stratum corneum, the outermost layer of the skin which we can see and touch, underneath which is the prickly cell layer and the basal cell layer and the granular layer and so on. These together all form the epidermis, and this is where new skin cells are formed and mature and then are gradually shed, an ongoing process. Underneath the epidermis is the dermis itself. This is the deeper layers of the skin, which is very rich in blood vessels, in nerve endings, and also where the connective tissue, collagen and elastin, are formed and maintained. If you like, the dermis provides the cushioning and the framework upon which the outer skin layers sit. Where the dermis and epidermis join is called the dermal epidermal junction, and this plays a very important part and role in healthy skin. As we age, subtle changes start to take place in the skin. The epidermis, the outer layer, starts to become thinner as the generation of new cells slows down. The dermis, the underlying layer, also becomes thinner and starts to lose some of the connective tissue which forms this cushioning framework and substructure for the skin. Collectively, these changes lead to a loss of skin elasticity, the formation of fine lines and wrinkles, and a loss of plumpness or firmness to the whole of the skin. So, coming back to the sea holly stem cell ingredient, how can this actually help with skin in this condition? Tests have shown that these stem cells, when incorporated into cosmetics, can increase the proliferation of cells in the epidermis and also help to regenerate collagen and elastin in the deeper layers of the skin in the dermis where they're formed and maintained. A 28-day dermatologist controlled trial on 20 human volunteers showed that skin smoothness increased by 38% and hydration levels increased by 95%. In addition, 90% of the volunteers reported improvements in skin grain, skin tone and firmness. So, in summary, sea holly stem cells, when incorporated into facial cosmetics, help to increase skin smoothness, firmness, plumpness and hydration. Not bad for an ingredient from a plant that we barely notice on the sand dunes and coasts around our country.